how does one unscript their life? I guess, because how do you do that?
I think that the way that you unscript your life is, first of all, understanding the difference between what others' expectations are and what you really want. And something that there's actually a lot of like the research and studies on this, and it's kind of has to do with the growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. And I encourage everybody to Google that because it's really interesting. And Stanford actually did a study about how do you develop your passions? How do you cultivate your purpose? How do you do these things? And it really has to do with this idea of, if you think that you're allowed to be open to trying a lot of things, then you'll try a lot of things. But if you feel like this is what's acceptable, you'll kind of stay there. And so that's the thing, is to kind of let yourself be open to it, and you can start developing interests in a lot of ways.
It's interesting because I tell people that life is a portfolio, but when I was doing prep and research for, actually just when I met Bob Walter, who I interviewed, and he is executive director of the Joseph Campbell Foundation. Joseph Campbell taught that you slay the dragon, right? And the dragon is that script, if you will, that other people have given you, right? So it's really interesting that this wisdom kind of just goes through time, right? And few find it, I think.
Yeah.
Don't you think few find it?
I do. And I think that's why platforms like yours are so important, because, someone who hasn't heard this is going to now know about it. Or if they knew about it, they're going to go and find out more about it. And so I think that's what's cool, is it kind of introducing these concepts to people so that they can lead more meaningful lives.
I think it's really easy to get in line and just keep going down the line. I think the difficult part is imagining yourself in a different place, and then taking the leap, right? Because in a lot of ways, don't you think, when you look at your life and the portfolio of where you are, what did it take for you to jump off into different things?
Well, it's interesting. A bunch of us were talking about this the other day, actually. Sometimes it takes a flop is when you finally say, oh, I didn't take myself off the carousel. I was pushed off of it, but now I'll pay attention and, look at things. And, that could be a breakup or losing a job, or, it could be anything that makes you kind of say, okay, I can either look at my life and who I am and what's going on, or I can just kind of feel sorry for myself and not change. And so I think with a lot of people, and the women that we'll talk to on the show are people who, either disappointed their parents or failed out of school or got divorced. And that's what really got them to look. And another interesting part of that is that, and this kind of goes with the other thing too, about when we're younger and during adolescence, it's such a hard time. And what we're supposed to kind of be doing is figuring out our values along the way. And that's what helps us really do all of this, is kind of having this foundation about values and what resonates with us. But what's interesting is so many people kind of pick those up when they're young, and then just because it feels familiar and good and too scary to question, a lot of women don't. A lot of adults don't, but a lot of women don't. And once they do, and they really check in with themselves and what their real beliefs and core values are, it's less scary to kind of take those chances and change things up a little bit.